Welcome to Finding Holiness, where we delve into timeless Torah wisdom, revealing the sacred in everyday moments. Join us on a journey to elevate your spirituality and discover holiness in every aspect of life. I'm your host, Rabbi David Kadosh, and together, let's embark on a path of spiritual exploration. I hope you enjoy this next episode. All right, moving on in Masechet Yevamot, we are in Perek Chet, Mishnah Daled. The Mishnayot that we talked about yesterday spoke about some laws regarding a man who is sterile, he cannot father children because of an injury. And the next Mishnayot discuss also some laws with regards to Yibum and Chalitza about sterile men. Amar Rabbi Yoshua. Rabbi Yoshua says in Mishnah Dalet, Shamati, I heard from my teachers, Shasaris holetz v'chotzin leishto, that a certain type of sterile man performs chalitza with his brother's widow, and his brothers perform chalitza with his wife should he die childless. Ve'asaris lo choletz v'lo chotzin leishto. But I also heard that there's a different type of sterile man that does not perform chalitza with his brother's widow, if his brother died, and his brothers don't perform chalitza with his wife if he was to die. Ve'en li lefaresh, she says. I have no way to explain which type of sterile man does perform chalitza, which one doesn't. So Amar Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva said, Ani afaresh, I'm going to explain to you exactly what this means. Seris Adam, if someone was born healthy, but became seris through another man, meaning he was injured by another man, and now he's not able to father any children. Choletz v'choltzin leishto. This man is able to perform chalitza if with his late brother's wife, and choltzin leishto, his brothers can perform chalitza with his wife if he dies. Mipenei she'ayta lo she'ata kosher, because there was a time in his life where he was able to have children, and therefore that's the law. Seris chama. But someone who is sterile from birth, lo choletz ve'lo chotzin leishto. This man does not perform chalitza. This man does not have his brothers perform chalitza with his wife. Mipenei shelo hayta lo she'ata kosher. There was never a time in his life where he was fit to have children, so therefore chalitza doesn't apply. That's the opinion of Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Eliezer says, Loki, no, the opposite. Ela seris hama, someone who was sterile from birth, choletz v'chotzin leishto, he could perform chalitza, and his brothers can perform chalitza with his wife if he was to die. Mipenesh yesh lo refuah, because there is a way that he could be healed. Not necessarily he's going to be sterile forever. He could be healed and be mekayem, preserve his brother's name. However, seris adam, but as someone who became sterile from an injury from another man, lo choletz ve'lo chotzin leishto, he cannot perform chalitza, mipenei she'en lo refuah, because he cannot be healed ever. He'll stay sterile forever. Haya'id Rabbi Yoshua ben Betera al ben megusat shehaya b'Yerushalayim seris adam. Rabbi Yoshua ben Betera once testified about a man whose name was Ben Megusat. He lived in Jerusalem, and he was sterile as a result of an injury from another man. V'yibemu et ishto. Yet, when he died, the Chachamim allowed his brother to perform yibum on his wife. This is lekayem divrei Rabbi Akiva. This testimony supports how Rabbi Akiva ruled. That's Mishnah Dalet. Mishnah Hey. Hasaris lo choletz ve'lo meyabem. Like we said, Hasaris, someone who is sterile from birth, does not perform chalitza or yibum. V'chen ailonit lo choletze ve'lo mityabemet. So too, an ailonit is a woman who cannot have children. She does not perform chalitza, and she cannot be taken into yibum. What happens if these people do perform chalitza or yibum? Hasaris shechalatz le'yimto. If a person who was sterile from birth did perform chalitza with his yevama, lo pesala. He does not disqualify her from marrying a kohen, because there was no yibum bond to begin with. However, be'alah, if this man was to cohabit with her, pesala, then she is now disqualified from marrying a Kohen, mipnei shehi ba'ilat znut, because this is a forbidden act of cohabitation. It's forbidden to cohabit with a brother's wife if there's no mitzvah of yibum, and therefore she's now forbidden to a Kohen. V'chen ailonit shechaltu la'achin. So too, if you have this ailonit woman, again a woman who is not able to have a child, and the brothers performed chalitza with her, lo pesalua, they don't disqualify her from marrying a Kohen. The chalitza is meaningless because there's no yibum bond. Be'alua, but if they cohabit with her, pesalua, they do disqualify her, because her cohabitation with the man was forbidden, and because there was no yibum, mitzvah of yibum with her. Seris hama kohen shenasa bat Yisrael. If you have a Kohen who was sterile, okay, from birth, and he marries a Yisrael woman, ma'achila bateruma, he enables her to eat teruma. She's allowed to eat teruma as his wife. Okay, this is if he was sterile from birth. But if a man becomes sterile from injury, then he may not marry a Kohen who becomes sterile from injury cannot marry a Jewess from proper lineage, and if he was, he would disqualify her from teruma. Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi Shimon omrim, Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi Shimon say, androgynos Kohen, a Kohen who is an androgynos. Androgynos is a man, or whatever, individual, born with both male and female organs. Okay? If this Kohen, Shenasa Bat Yisrael, got married to a daughter of Yisrael, Machila Beteruma, he also enables her to eat teruma. According to these Tanaim, Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi Shimon, this individual with both male and female organs has the status of a male, and therefore he can marry. If he marries this woman, she now eats teruma. His wife is like any other wife. Rabbi Yehuda says, tumtum. A tumtum is a person who the private parts are covered. You cannot tell what they're there, but you can't tell. Tumtum, but shenikra, the skin was torn open, and now you could see the private parts. Venimsa zachar, and it was found to be a male. Lo yahalot, this man cannot perform chalitza with his brother's wife, mipnei shehu chasaris, because he has the status of somebody who is sterile. He cannot father any children. Lastly, androgynos nose, again, an androgynos who has both organs, male and female, is considered to be a man, so he can marry a woman. Aval lo nisa, but he cannot be married to a man, okay? Because two men cohabiting with each other is forbidden. The penalty is stoning. So therefore, since he has the status of a man, he cannot marry a man and live with a man. Rabbi Eliezer says, androgynos chayavim alav sekila kazachar. That men who cohabit with an androgynos are liable to stoning only because they lived with a man, not for any other reason. Okay, that concludes Perek Het. Moving on to, actually, we'll stop here and we'll continue tomorrow. B'ezrat Hashem. Rabbi Chananya ben Akasha Omer, Ratzah HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yisakor Chalitza Ficha Chilba Lahem Torah Mitzvot.